Only 10 days till Christmas, and in the Premier League last time out we got one score correct. Liverpool beating Palace 2-1. Was rather lucky as Jordan Ayew could find himself pretty unfortunate to be sent off, and the game changed with that decision. But Liverpool got the job done, and they keep getting the job done, which is just seeing them climb the table more and more and put together a very convincing audition for the title. They are very, very firmly in the race. Let's get on to these predictions. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we start off at Forest against Spurs. And with Forest meeting Spurs on Friday night, it's an interesting proposition. Forest, I thought they were very, very poor when they shipped 5 against Fulham, but Fulham went on to prove they are very, very good at home at the moment, and Forest got a decent 1-1 draw away at Wolves, so maybe it's not all too bad. Spurs, they have been struggling to pick up wins recently. They're in a bit of a pickle because they've got a lot of players injured, which obviously isn't proving too good for them, but I do think they've got enough here. They always score the first goal, so I'm pretty sure they will come out of the traps very quickly again here, and I think they'll get all 3 points in a 2-1 win. Bournemouth face Luton, and what a turnaround it's been under Iraola. Bournemouth 5 unbeaten with 4 wins. Very, very good recently. They got their biggest ever victory at Old Trafford, which was a 3-0 win. So very, very good from the Cherries. And they're in fine form. They're climbing the table, and I think they will now be okay after going so long without their first win in the league. Luton, 3 losses in a row. 3 losses in a row away from home as well. They hang in games at home. They only ever lose by the odd goal, and they put in some big performances considering they've played a lot of the top sides at home. I think there are more points to come from them at home because they have got a lot of the weaker sides still to play at Kenilworth Road, but away from home I don't fancy them in this, so I'm going to go Bournemouth to win 3-1. Chelsea against Sheffield United. Now, I'm a bit fed up at Chelsea, very unpredictable. Every time they look like they turned a corner, they reverse straight back round it. And, I mean, they've lost their last 2 games against Man United and Everton, both away. They're just hard to read. But this one should, you'd hope, with all the money spent, be a bit of a simpler task. Sheffield United have only won 2 games all season. One of them did come in their last match against Brentford, but away from home, very, very poor. They've played 7, drew 1, lost the other 6. So they're not fruitful away at all. So I'd expect Chelsea to win this by a high margin, but I don't have too much faith in them. So I'll go 1-0. Man City take on Palace, and this is a fixture you kind of look at every season, as Palace are one of those sides who seem to get good results against Man City more often than not. Considering how good City are, not many people do. So Palace are one of the better sides against City. They were very good when Zaha was there. How are they going to cope now? Well, Man City finally got a win after 4 league games without a win. A phrase I didn't think I'd say for a very long time. And City, it was 2-1 against Luton. It was just about, and it's thanks to a 3-minute double from Grealish and Silva. But it was tight. They just about got over the line. And maybe it's a bit of a cause for concern, the fact that they're not putting teams away considering the quality they have. But they have got a few injuries. Particularly their wing positions look very, very out of depth. They don't have the depth there. They've only really got Grealish, who's a natural winger that's fit at the moment. And I don't know. Something's wrong with City at the moment, but I'm sure they will get back to their normal ways. Palace, not 1 in 5, losing 4. Surely City win this. I'll go 2-0. Newcastle face Fulham next, and Newcastle have a brilliant home record so far, 7 wins and 1 loss out of their 8. So more than often than not, Newcastle are going to win at home. Fulham, what's going on at Craven Cottage? Because when they're at home, they win. They've won 3 in a row. The last 2 games have both been 5-0 wins at home, which back-to-back 5-0s for Fulham I did not think would be one of the things I'd be ticking off my bingo card this season. Very, very strong at home recently, but away from home not so fruitful. Their last match was that 4-3 loss against Liverpool away, so can they go one better? If they score 3 goals in a game, you kind of expect to win it, so can they get at this Newcastle defence? I think they can, but I just think Newcastle have too much at home, so the Magpies to win 2-1. A potential relegation battle here, but 2 sides in pretty differing form. It's Burnley against Everton. Now Burnley, not too bad recently, a 1-1 draw with Brighton away. Their last home game was that 5-0 win against Sheffield United, but they are still tending to lose the majority of their games. Everton, on the other hand, under Dyche, have really came into some great form, already out of the relegation zone despite that 10-point deduction, and they've actually won 5 of their last 7, drawing 1 and losing 1, so loads of points picked up. They've won 3 in a row, keeping clean sheets in all of them, and they've been against Forest, Newcastle and Chelsea. So great form from the Toffees, and I expect them to win here. I'll go 2-1. Arsenal take on Brighton next. Now Arsenal lost their top spot when they lost 1-0 against Villa. Villa are absolutely bouncing. Arsenal were much better than City were at Villa Park, but still couldn't get that goal and ended up losing the game. So where does that leave Arsenal? Well, they're second in the league, only 1 point off top place Liverpool, and I'm sure they can reclaim that spot if they can carry on their form. And I've got no worries about Arsenal's form continuing, because they are a very, very good side. Brighton, they have only lost 1 of their last 11 fixtures in all competitions. I saw them in the week beat Marseille 1-0, João Pedro with a late goal, but in that whole game they were brilliant. They tore Marseille apart. They were so exciting to watch, and I'm a big fan of Brighton. I just think in the league this season they're not getting as many wins as they should be. Their last fixture was a 1-1 draw with Burnley. They've also drawn with Sheffield United, so they are struggling to convert those draws into wins, and that really is the reason they're not sitting in the top 5 at the moment. They are a pain in Arsenal's backside, as they, in the last 4 league games, Brighton have won 2, drawn 1 and lost 1. So Arsenal aren't tending to get the better of Brighton this at the moment, and in the last fixture between them, it was that brilliant 3-0 win for Brighton that all but ended Arsenal's title hopes. I think this one will be a great watch, and I've got a feeling Brighton will get something, so I'm going to go 2-2. Brentford face Villa next. Now Brentford, they have lost 4 out of their last 5. They've lost 2 in a row, and the last one was against Sheffield United. Brentford were away. They do tend to be better at home, but that is not a result you want, as Sheffield United are really, really struggling to get anything this season. Villa, obviously great form, brilliant at home, won their last 2 games against Man City and Arsenal, both 1-0 at home, but away from home they're not as fruitful. They drew 2-2 with Bournemouth. They're pretty average away. However, that last Brentford result makes me kind of think that Villa will get all 3 points, so I'll go 2-1. West Ham take on Wolves, and, well, West Ham were 4 games unbeaten in the league, but if you pardon the pun, they were absolutely hammered by Fulham. 5-0. I didn't see that one coming, as I think West Ham are a pretty decent side with some very good players, but that was a bit of a shock to the system. Wolves, they aren't great away, to be honest. They've lost their last 3 away games in the league, and they've all been by a 1-goal margin. So this one could be tight. I do think there could be a few goals, but I'm going to go for a draw, and I will go 1-1. And finally, the big one for the weekend, Liverpool against Man U. Liverpool went top of the league with 3 wins in a row, their third coming as a 2-1 against Palace. Been in very fine form recently, still won all of their home games, and I think you can see where this one may be going. Man United lost 3-0 against Bournemouth in their last one. They're very hit and miss. Still haven't drawn a league game, the only side in England to not draw a league game this season. So they're either going to win or lose. And if you look at the recent meetings, Man United last scored at Anfield in 2018 under Jose Mourinho, and the last 2 home games for Liverpool against Man United have ended 4-0, and then most recently last season 7-0. So I may be a bit generous to Man United if I give them a goal, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go Liverpool to win 3-0. So those are my predictions for these Premier League fixtures. Make sure to put your predictions in the comments, like and subscribe, and hopefully it's an entertaining weekend of football.